this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful shaker card using the brand new JND390 Mistletoe bells. We also use a circle from another die, but I'll show you that in a second. So if I bring the die set in, you get this beautiful frame, which gives you the mistletoe around a circle. You get two bells, and you get an inside and an outside for each of them. One which has beautiful ivy in, one which has the stunning snowflakes in it, and you get two little dies to actually cut you extra mistletoe to decorate this. And for this card, I'm also going to use the circle from JND390 Pear Tree Bauble. And this one gives you the perfect fit on the die, and I'll show that when we use it. But if you don't have this die set, you can just use a normal circle if you find one the right size. So we're going to get started, and I'll move the card out of the way. And we're going to start with a piece of Christmas green Craft Artist Essential card. And this has been cut to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 inches. And I'm simply going to take the frame and place that in the middle of that piece of card. Now, the frame doesn't have an outside line, but there are other dies within the John Next Door Christmas 2023 collection which will fit that exactly if you want to do that, or you can use a standard square die. So I've taped the die down with a little bit of low tack tape from our Craft Artist range, and we'll run that through and cut it. And once you've cut it, you'll find you've got this beautiful frame here. So I'll bring a piece of white in so you can see it. You can see there, you've got the beautiful circle, and this holds these beautiful sprays of mistletoe in there. Now, what I want to do is, we're going to make this into a shaker card, but I want to blank out these four corners. And this is where the circle die comes from the Pear Tree Bauble. If you notice, it's exactly the same size as that circle there. So we can use that. Take a piece of gold card. I'm using New Gold Satin card, again from Craft Artist. And I've cut this a little bit smaller to 5.5 by 5.5, so it fits in. And we would simply put the circle down in the centre, tape that down, and cut that through. We'll have a spare circle for another project, but we can also then use that circle to pop on, and it fits exactly, so no gold shows through, and you get those four beautiful corners just blanked out. Now, if you want to, there is a project card video that we've done which creates a waist piece as we use the gold circle, so you can use that like this and frame it, and obviously frame it a little bit larger. So there are lots of different options of ways to use this and save card. So what I would do is I would glue that down, or spray glue that down onto there, and we're going to add a piece of acetate onto the back, and I just use the usual A5 Kaleido acetate. So we'd adhere all that together with spray glue or with power tape, and that will give us a piece just like this. So we have that beautiful corners all covered, but we have the acetate in there. So now we need to make the shaker element. So I'm going to turn this onto the back, and I'm going to grab myself some 2mm foam tape. I use 2mm as it means we don't have to overfill it, and it doesn't make it too deep. And we simply run that down the four sides. And it's the reason why we cut the panel to 5 3/4, because if you notice, a standard 10mm foam tape will fit perfectly around there, so we don't have to bother getting special shaker tape or anything. So we would just pop that in like that, and you'll see from the front none of the tape shows through, which is why we've got these beautiful gold panels. And I would always add a little bit of extra support around that circle, and this also stops the elements of the shaker going into those corners and not being visible in the window. So we're blanking out almost anywhere where you could actually not see the shaker pieces. So we've taken that off. I'm now going to use some of the Craft Artist Crystal Ice in here, which is a soft sort of translucent holographic. And I'm also going to add some of the Crystal Snow, which is the chunkier, more glass-like pieces. You could use snow in here, you could use sequins in here, there's lots of different things you can use. So we'll just mix that around a little, get it placed in the centre, and then we're just going to reveal the foam tape on all four edges. And what I would also do is, and I know there's sometimes you may see demonstrations where people go, these supporting pieces, you don't need to take the tape off. I would, because it makes sure they're stuck and it will stop little pieces of the glitter sort of getting wedged in there as well. So I'm taking that off the 4 supporting pieces. And I've got a piece of white card, again, coconut white essential card, that I've cut to 5 3/4 inches. And I've embossed this with a 3D snow embossing folder, which will be coming out later in the year. So I'm just going to place that on evenly, press it down, and that will seal me my little shaker unit. See that? And by doing it quite so tight and filling it, as the heat works in someone's living room, the actual acetate can expand slightly, and you'll find little bits drop down every now and again, or when it's touched. It makes as if it's snowing, so it's a lot more exciting. So we then need to just check, and if there's any sections of white or anything showing on the front, we can just trim those by undercutting onto it. It's always worth neatening it up at this stage. There we go. So we'll take those off. Beautiful, neat front. So now I simply need to add some foam tape on the back of here, because this will hold our baubles in place. So I put a strip around all 4 sides and a little bit in the centre to support it. So we'll just go along all 4 sides, just like that. There we go. And all I'm going to do is reveal one section at the top. Now it doesn't matter because it's exactly equidistant, so there is no defined top. Each one of them will work. So we're now going to need to cut our bells. And I've got some pieces here already cut, but just using scraps of white and gold. We're using the gold, so we would take our 2 pieces of our bells, take a long piece of tape, pick up the central panel, allows us to hover over, and then we can tape that down. And there is actually a bell, because they're slightly different sizes for both of the designs. Again, pick up those, pop them down onto the card, and we'll run that through and cut that, which will give us these beautiful bells here. And then using just the outside lines, we can just cut the 2 bells and make sure you get the right size fitting on each one. So you can use glue glaze or spray glue to simply attach those on. So once done, we're going to attach a little bit of baker's twine, and the baker's twine is available from Art of Craft, onto the back with foam tape. So I've done one with 1 layer and one with 2 layer. And you're just going to mould the bells slightly in your hands, which is why we put the tape in the centre, so we get a little bit of 3D. So you take the one that has 1 strip of tape, reveal the tape, and place that towards the bottom centre of your card. Take the baker's twine to the centre, and there's a centre point on the die, and fold it over. We're going to do the same, but a little bit higher up, just overlapping them slightly with the other bell. And again, take that to that centre point, cross it over, and adhere it down. And we're simply then going to cut off the excess. Then I've made a card blank up, which is actually an 8x8 card, and I've put mats on of white and gold at 7x7 and white and green at 7.5 and 7.5 to give me the perfect matte and layer. So I'm bringing in the gold, but I'm also bringing in the green. So we'd add that into the centre. We've got that beautiful then shaker element on the large card, and it's simply a case of decorating. So here I have a couple, I've got 3 of the gold metallic bells from Craft Artist, and a little bow made from the baker's twine. So I'm using pin flare glue gel, but you can use a similar glue or glue gel if you want to. And I tend to put this on using a little toothpick or cocktail stick. So we're going to put a little bit there in the centre. We're going to take our bow, and we're just going to attach our bow on, and then add a little bit more gold And we're going to put one of the bells on, because I think when cards have bells, it's nice to put bells on there to actually reflect it, and it gives that little bit of extra noise. And then I'm just going to add another little bell at the top of each of the bows, and that just hides where we've got them joining onto the baker's twine. Makes a really nice little finish and adds that really bright sort of shine of the bright gold on there. And there is our card nearly finished. You can then either use stick-on pearls, or I'm using the Pearl Dimension by Craft Artist, and we can just add either large or small. We can add 3s. I'm going to add some large ones on this time, of mistletoe berries, which are usually white. So I'm putting those in each corner, and always move your work, not yourself. And you'll notice in the die there are places for those to go on, so 1 or 3 or 2 or however many you want to. Just put that there. And you could further decorate it by adding a little bit of holly or ivy, sorry, or even mistletoe, using the mistletoe dies in the set. But I think that's just beautiful as it stands. So we have a simple shaker card. I'll bring in the original because this one's drying. So a beautiful shaker card with lots of glitz and glitter that will look stunning on anyone's mantelpiece. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John next door and Crafts2 group on Facebook.